Welcome, everyone. This is so wonderful. The program is Language for Conscious Living. Consciousness is our theme. And I'm so happy to welcome Cecilia for this program. This is a part of a bigger project which is called Exploring the Realms of Creation. You know, there is so much knowledge and wisdom being downloaded all over the world. Of course, you know, a lot of it we see in the mainstream and the publications and the news and all that. But there are little pockets where there is new information and just a few people are privy to it. And people who've done SRT know this because it started with just one or two people and then it grew. And then many of us on this call are familiar with the process. So my endeavor in starting this is that let me pull together these little droplets of immensely powerful knowledge and be able to share that so we get to participate. So thank you so much, Cecilia, for agreeing to be one of the speakers and for this particular discourse. I have known Cecilia for multiple years. I've taken many classes. This lady is amazingly connected to the source and intuitive. And I'm not going to take time now to share with you why I thought this was such an important topic. But if we have time somewhere later, I would love to tell you my experience with it. So go ahead, Cecilia. It's all yours.
Thank you, Malavika, and welcome everybody to this moment in time. I always start everything that I do with, and I'm not going to go into who I am and what I do or anything else like that, because that will take a little bit too much out of the time that we have right now. But I just want to say one thing. I was born in Ecuador, and at the age of 16, we moved to the United States, and there has been my journey from all these years. At the moment, I just wanted to talk about conscious living, but in anything else that I do, I always say, please have an intention. Why are you here? And you just create your own internal intention. Why are you here? What have you come together to get from this group, this session with, oh, not a session, but with this group with everybody here gathering. And at the same time, because and the way to connect to source is always through what we call a prayer. So say also your internal prayer to yourselves so you can connect yourselves to that greater awareness of yourself, which is, I call it source, spirit, God, whatever it is that is more comfortable for you, you can do that at the moment. Oh, there we go. And my body moves. So if you see me moving, is because when things are happening, my body starts moving. Okay. Oof. There we go. And what I'm just feeling the connectivity on everybody here. And there we go, some more. Ooh, thank you. Ooh. Oh, wow, there's some more going on. Ooh. And here we are. What I'm feeling tremendously right now is the energy that I call the Christ. And the energy of the Christ coming from source is so much love. It's so much love for each of you here. It's so much love. There's so much embracing. Everybody's getting surrounded with this love energy to bring you a greater awareness who you are and what you're doing. Conscious living has started, I think, from the day that I came into this physical world, but really becoming aware of it and the words that what conscious living is all about. It was about 20 years ago. And my journey is asking different questions of source here and there. And about 20 years ago, I was asking a lot of questions, like I always have asked, to clarify it. And my question is always to clarify, not from somebody else's perspective, but from my own perspective, to clarify this or to clarify that. And the Spirit said to me that night, who are you listening to, Cecilia? And I said, okay, clarify it a little more because I don't know that question. What do you mean by that? Who am I listening to? So he said, we're going to take you to a journey of clarifying your vocabulary. And I said, okay, what does that mean? I thought my vocabulary was pretty good, but let me go and allow whatever it needs to come in and let's move it. So it took conversations to go on and on and on and on and on. But the first thing that the spirit gave that night, what he says, Cecilia, everything is created through this process. So he made me do a square. He took like, and I'm just gonna make a little square here. And he said, I'm gonna teach you this. This is your foundation. It's a little square, kind of, you're not seeing clear, but it's a little square there in the middle. And in one box, he made me put the letter M, in another box, the letter E, in another box, the letter P, and another box, the letter S. Okay, so I'm just, I don't know if you can see it very clearly because I didn't use a pen, I used a pencil. So in the letter M, Spirit said to me, that's your mental. That these 4 squares here is your foundation of having a physical body, or experience through physicality, experience to manifest things. So they call it the manifestation process, okay? So I said, okay, what does that mean? So he said, everything in the universe, in the world, with everybody, starts in the mental process. And the mental process is your thoughts, your ideas, your words. Okay, so we're going to delve a little bit in the words that you have. Out of that, he made me take out the dictionary, and he says every week, every day, not every month, we did it for months, actually, I'm still doing it. We're going to find out what kind of vocabulary do you have. And it's your internal vocabulary. Is your internal awareness, what is when you use this word or that word, what it means to you. So it started with saying, let's look at your name. And I said, okay, I wrote my name down. He says, no, I don't want you to write it across. I want you to write vertical. So I wrote my name vertical. And then out of that writing vertical, he said, okay, now for each letter, write something across. And I did that. And out of that, I saw a lot of words that were negative in my name. Okay, and he says, now I want you to change those words and change it to something positive, but keep writing it effortlessly, but change it until you get something positive that comes out of your name. And what it does to you is now you have your own vocabulary, that when you say a word, this is what it means. This is what it does to you. So the word is the first things that, and I work with that for a while. So I'm just going to show you one of the things that they picked up, one of the words that I did. And the word there is performance, okay? And out of that word, so I wrote across the different things that I thought it was. And of course, I didn't write it here, what it make, I changed and all, but this is a way to have your own internal vocabulary. And he said to me, Cecilia, your words create your reality. And if you really know what you want to do with something, you have to know what it means to you in all aspects of you. So that's what the words are so important in life. And Jesus had said, so many people have said, the Buddha had said, that everybody that's really a master is very cautious with their words, because they know that the words create where you're going, how your journey is going to be, and all of that. So I said, okay, so we play with that. And I still, like I said, I still play with that. So then he went into clarify, okay, the physical part on the square is where you are right now, is where we all are. We go to a physical form to understand what the mental, what the words and all of that come out, okay? And then he went to the word spirit, and the letter S to the next square. And the spirit is everywhere. The energy of a spirit goes out, that incredible energy that the spirit is, it goes out for everybody. The spirit never judges anything. It lets you do and be according to where you are, according to your experience, according to what religion you follow, according to your family that you came into and all of that. But the energy goes, yes, it spreads out beautifully for everybody. That's good. The spirit doesn't have this is good, this is bad. There's no judgment whatsoever. It goes to everything. And then the last letter that he said there was E. The E is for emotion. And he made me break it down, E/motion. And that is the way that energy moves through you. Everything in the universe is about movement. How does it move? And in the emotion came the feeling. And the feeling is how you feel. You're going to move the energy or spirit to create what your word said. So let's clarify that again, okay? The emotion and it's how you feel is you're going to create through with the energy of a spirit and the physical body through what your words are. So let's just look at into the word, for instance, money, okay? So when I looked into money and I did money, I have done money many times, just put in a vertical and see what comes up for that. I recognized that there was a lot of stuff from family, from different aspects of my background, from my education, from this and that, which I then created that definition in me, but that was not the definition that would create the awareness and the sense of self here. And it was always kind of, no, it feels not totally in that perspective of oneness. It felt more in the perspective of, oh, this is a part, this is a part, this is a part. So it has taken years and years of redefining what money means. And one day Spirit said to me, Cecilia, everybody takes money and thinks it's a piece of paper, it's a this, it's a that. Everything in the universe is energy. Everything, no matter what it is energy. It is only energy. Do you love it? Or do you accept it or do you reject it? Do you love it or do you hate it? And in that process of understanding what everything is energy, redefine again your words and saying and coming to say to you, when you think of yourself, when you see yourself, because that's one of the things they ask me, always about personal, never about anybody else. It's always personal. When you see yourself in the mirror, what are you seeing? What are you thinking of yourself? Where are you with this? Where are you with that? Because the moment that you embrace yourself for the good and the bad that you perceive you are, is the moment that you can change things. And that comes with the conscious living. That comes with the words. And the words is about understanding, again, that inner connection that you have. What have you taken that is really yours? And what have you taken that belongs to others and put it up on top of that? Clarifying the process, moving through that understanding of things. What feelings do I have with this? What feelings do I have with that? To move your goals, to move your ideas, to move your inner manifestation into a greater expression of yourself. The Spirit says to me that all of us are creators, all of us, that regardless, we can create through this beautiful awareness of who you are, or we can create through the awareness that somebody imposed on you. And when somebody imposes things on you, you're always going to create through the negative, because it's not you. It's what you absorb from others. It's what you learn from others. And everything comes back to you, to who are you? What do you want here? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? And the vocabulary and these things is an awareness of that. So conscious living, when we go into that awareness that nothing in us is bad, everything is just good. It's just that we had a different understanding or misunderstanding of things. We understood it because we took it not from our own understanding, but because my parents gave it to me, or my teachers gave it to me. And because I respect and love my parents, and I respected and love my teachers, I took that and made it mine. And when I make it mine, then it doesn't feel good. I always will have some challenges with it. The moment that you go into the conscious living is the moment that you're always at in present moment. In this present moment, what am I doing? In this present moment, where am I? In this present moment, is the thoughts or the actions that I take based on who I am, or based on on the things that I have absorbed from others. And so that's my foundation. So how do they put it? I mean, they give me so many different ways of looking at things to make it easy, to make it understand things. One of the things he said, okay, let's go back to the thoughts and ideas. Look at your thoughts and ideas as a seed, or look at your thoughts and ideas as a car. Your life is a car. Your life is a seed. Where are you going to put that seed? Are you going to put it in a beautiful soil, which will be the positive thoughts that you have, or you're going to put it in a murky soil, or in a soil that is arid or doesn't have energy at all to flower you, to bring you to the awareness that you are, to bring you to the understanding how is that you want to create. So he said, if you look at the seed and you put it in a good soil, that seed is going to take a little bit, a little time in order to sprout. So with everything, that's how everything works, because the emotion, the feeling that the ceiling is absorbing is the energy in the soil. And it will not sprout like a lot of us have, even including myself. I wanted it instantly. I want that tomorrow, not today, or not 3 days from now, today or tomorrow, manifested immediately. And in a clarification, it says everything is like a seed. You have to put it in the soil. It's just like somebody carrying a child. It goes in the womb, and it has to process. It has to get ready, and it has to grow. It has to absorb everything. So it's never an instant gratification of creation. It's always a process of what else we put in there in order to manifest it. So the seeds always have, so I said, clarify about the roots. The root is what you're bringing in order to manifest you. So what they show me is the root chakra. The root chakra is the soil, and the soil is, it holds a representation. You have to ground it. You have to ground it. The seed has to be grounded. If the seed is not grounded, how can it manifest? I mean, now we have seeds that manifest in water, but that's through a different process. But the seed needs always something to absorb, something to lock into in order to manifest. So in that manifestation process, and it says some plants can manifest immediately, some other plants, according to the soil, take a little bit. Every plant, if you look in nature, they will show you that every plant manifests differently. And it's a representation that each of us, according to what we desire, what we're doing, where we want to create, it will take different steps according to the soil that requires. And then it will sprout, and then it will absorb the energy of the sun. So the energy of the sun, what it represents to us, is that now the universe is supporting you totally. Now, after you did all your internal process, the universe is going to support you to manifest that which you desire, because the plant is going to grow, and grow. So that's one of the samples. The other example that they gave me about the car was, your life is like a car. You have a car. It doesn't matter what kind of car it is. And if you put it on park, it's not going to go forwards or backwards. It's just on park. So he said to me, okay, and so where do you want to go? It depends where you have parked your car. Okay. So I'm like, okay, so if you have it in your garage and you want to take it out, don't you have to reverse it, right? So everything, that's the motion that happens in life. So sometimes we have to go look back and to see where we have been, what we have understood in order to move forward, and then to put it to drive. Okay. And then it's clarifying the words again, back to clarifying words here. So he said to me, when you say the word, I'm going to try to do this tomorrow, the car went into neutral and it cannot go forwards or backwards. When you put it in park, you know that you're going to have the power, because park is like, I pause. Let me pause in which direction I need to go, where it's not even need, and in which direction it will be the best way for me to drive this car, backwards or forwards. But when you say I'll try, it's kind of you putting your car in neutral. Now the car is not going to go forward and it's not going to go backwards. So conscious living makes you aware of your words. Depends what you say. So I have eliminated out of my vocabulary the word need, the word try, the word could, the word should. Because all of this create a lot of misunderstandings. We get entangled in those words and we create a kind of like, I don't know what to do next. Because this is like, I don't know. I just lost myself in whatever perspective I was looking at the moment. It really puts it in simplistic ways for clarification of thought, for clarification of understanding that no matter what you do, you're always creating. And you are such an incredible being. And the earth that we are in is always for your clarification, clarifying some thought that you had before that it didn't come with an understanding. It just came because it was just a thought, and I took it and I said, let me work with that thought. But you never looked at the thought for what it really meant to you. So again, conscious living brings you back to this present moment to say, who am I? With my name. Like, and you can work it. I mean, if you would like to have, kind of an example, you can do a vertical, put your name down and then see across to see what words come up. But it's really make you understand who you are, what you're doing here, and how much you are loved. The love that comes in is such an incredible energy that just to say, we don't judge you for if it's good or if it's bad. We just love you because you're in the physical. It takes so much amount of energy to come to a physical form. So it's time to love yourselves. And that's what being conscious means. Love yourself for no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. If you want to change something, let's go look at my feeling. What do I feel about this? Because my feelings is going to move that emotion to see where I can create, where is that going to go? What is that going to move? What is that going to understand within my internal understanding of that expression? It's just such an amazing process that I mean, I loved it. I was a little bit upset. Like I said, the first time that they said, look at the dictionary, I was kind of like, what? I have to do all of this work and all of that. But right now I have to say that it has been an incredible understanding of myself. And an incredible process to be present and to be here for being just me. And then I can bring that energy with me wherever I go, and I'm bringing that energy with me with each of you here. I'm just here accepting your divinity, accepting my divinity, regardless how we express that. It does not matter. It's just pure love. I need a little water.
Can I come in for a few minutes and just talk about my experience with this work? And this, yes. I don't even remember how long ago it was. It was definitely more than 10 years ago when actually Cecilia came and did a 2-day program on conscious living. And this part, the language part, was quite a significant part of that. And I remember, she made us take words. What do you want to create? Abundance. All right, take abundance. Now, the first word, don't think too much. The first word that comes to your mind for A, write it down, write it down, write it down, write it down. And what was so amazing, I don't remember, I've got a whole thick book, by the way. For months, I worked on this to be able to do it. The one that I remember, money. The first word that comes to my mind when I put down money is monotony. Meaning, like, to me, making money is a monotonous business. You've got to go to a job and sit there and do somebody else's agenda for. And so now I'm looking for a different word to replace the monotony with, because it brings the vibration of that into that word. When I say money or I think money, that vibration is present. So now, and I realize that sometimes it's not very easy to find an appropriate positive word to replace that. And so the other one, which really stuck in my head, and this wasn't during the class. This was actually I was doing a session with Cecilia, and I was telling her, I've got this business going. It's called Vision Holistic, and then she says, Vision Holistic. Oh, but honey, there's something with that name that is not quite in alignment with you. And I'm thinking it's such a great name, Vision and Holistic. So then she does a dowsing and she goes, it's the V. What comes to mind when you think of V? And honest to goodness, every word I could think of was like violent, violated, vagrant, vanquished, victim. I'm writing that, I'm going, what is this? So she says, see what I mean? So now it's not that there aren't good words in with V, but I had to work hard to find out things like virtue, burden. And so you don't realize this. And this is the part that is why I wanted to invite Cecilia. We don't realize even the words that we choose to express ourselves with, even that has got deeper layers of vibrations which we are not which we're not aware of. Aside from the words that you're not going to use ever again, like Cecilia said, never try. Trying means sitting on the fence. Nothing is happening. And should. Who should? Whose agenda is that? Set that aside. So aside from the words that you're not going to use, even the words that you do use, what is the vibration of that word, especially the words we are really, really fond of. And it really is very interesting to sit down one day and just go, all right, when I keep saying, I want prosperity, what is the vibration of prosperity for me right now at this time? Okay, you did prosperity, or you did positive, Cecilia. Yeah. So P, what is P? Positive. Okay. R. What is R? So, and it's usually, you have to sit down with this in a very kind of open, clear mind. First thing that comes. R, what? Restful. Oh, what? So it's a very interesting thing, and you might want to do some of that with your name. What are the ones that you suggest, Cecilia, that we do
Well,
as to begin
the
with?
first thing would be your name, and then the name that most people call you, or your nickname. Then if you have a business, do your business to see what it is. And then what is your goals? What are you looking at of life to get? Like, what is life to you? Life is very interesting when I have seen that and what people bring up awareness of that. So it is an amazing, I have seen so many people change their lives just because they changed their vocabulary. Now they knew that every time they say this word or that word or this thought that came into their heads, and they kind of broke it down and they have changed, it just has created, like they call it, miracles in their lives. Because now they're not just walking around with somebody else's, but they're walking around knowing who they are and what is that internal word, which is the power that you were given. Your vocabulary is the power that you were given to create. So now you know how you create it, and instead of getting frustrated or upset about it, we can say, let me look at what kind of my vocabulary is. For those that do dowsing, this is not about clearing, okay? Let me just clear my name or the use SRT. Then this is not about clearing, okay?
No, it's conscious
This
mind
is
work.
about recognizing right here, right now, with my words, with the power of my words, what am I doing? What am I saying? Okay? And the feeling, the emotion that you're bringing is your attitude. Okay? Attitude is more important than intelligence. That's what kind of Jesus said, if you're like childlike, because adults gonna work a lot with intelligence, but the child likes work with how they feel. This is how I'm feeling. This is what you're gonna create. And the child that has been abused has a lot of abusive energy in there with their names. I have just done children with names that they had so much abuse that's what, when they say they name, that's what they bring. So that's one of the most incredible things that to do with children is to see, okay, you know, I have one of the clients that I had was a client that her grandmother had a name, the same name, the mother had the name, she had the name, and then they gave the granddaughter the same name. All of them sexually abused. All of them had terrible lives. And when we looked down and we broke it down into the words, each word was just more destruction, 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 destruction. So if you don't understand it, and when I asked her, I says, why did they name your grandchild? He says, well, because that's what we do in my family. We move from generation to generation to generation. And when she saw that, she says, oh my goodness, let's just change. So she gave the different from her perspective because her mom and grandma would already have passed on. So to change her name, so her granddaughter's name also could be changed. Yeah, so we did that. So that's one of the most interesting clients that I have. Another client that I had was she was working for this great corporation, and every meeting that she went to, it was disrupted, it was chaotic and all of that. So she said into her head, let me look at the word meetings that I attend with them. And she changed the word, and every time she was walking into meetings in her company, she would put all the positive words. The meetings became positive. Their company became more successful. Everybody cooperated and all of that. So it was an incredible understanding of herself and what was she's doing there and how she was moving with her own understanding that she could share. Because when you understand yourself with that perspective, wherever you go, you bring that energy with you. So that's yes, what I can share at the moment. And another thing is a lot of people talk about the power of your words shall make it so. So having the power of your words and learning what kind of vocabulary you have put into those words, or what kind of definition of vocabulary, what kind of definition that you have put into those words changes everything. So if anybody has any questions or anything that they would want me to clarify, I'm happy to do it. One of the things also before anybody, I'll still keep talking if nobody asking questions or anything. If it bothers you, it's your stuff. Okay?
Love it. Yeah, Glinda has a question. Go ahead.
Yeah. So suppose you break down a word and you're not happy with the negative connotations. What's the next step?
You change that word. So what is the next word that comes up to that? And what is the next word that comes out to that? Until you find something that when you look at all of them, they're positive. And then when you look at that, now you have a definition. And the definition is really, it feels really good in you.
So you look at the word with its new positive connotations and you just let it kind of soak into your consciousness.
That's absolutely
right.
Yes.
Yeah,
got it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Michelle, did you have a question?
No, I'm listening intently. It's fascinating, actually.
Go ahead, Miriam.
I have a question about words and connecting to other person. Like yesterday, I have a little experience with a friend. She was really in a negative mood. So all what I did, I hear all her negative and I just let it suck and I just carry with me. And I kind of let it go. And I was a little concerned about her, but somehow I believed. And I think, and after that, I hear good news from her. I wonder if just listening and absorbing and let it go, would that help to minimize the negative emotion and some changing to a positive? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what kind of, and I'm going to change it to a little bit different in other words. Okay. The love that you have for your friend, even though you listen and you wanted to absorb to make her life better, is the love that you have. So the love that you have is what can change her understanding and change the way that she walks around in life. But more than that, it will be the love that you have for yourself, so everything can transform within yourself. And if you want to understand a little more, you can go write down your name vertical again and her name vertical, and then change the wording. That's when the next time you guys come together, then your experience will be different.
Thank you.
Okay.
So there is a message from Tanya to everyone. She says she's writing a book, and it is about good words and bad words and its impacts. And so I'm going to actually refer this and ask a question of Cecilia, saying, there is a general understanding of good words and bad words. But to me, that is one layer. What is your, how would you say, I mean, if somebody says, well, these are the good words, use these, those are the good, not so good words, don't use that. How will that impact our personal vibrations, Cecilia?
Because every letter has its own vibration, okay? Every letter that you put in has its own vibration. So every word that you use will create that vibration, and it will make it create how you feel. So if it's a positive word that from our perspective is positive, the universe never calls it positive. It's just saying this is the nature or more love coming into you, understanding. So we're moving from a perspective of seeing ourselves kind of as a victim to a perspective of seeing us as powerful. So it's the vibration and the frequency with each of those words that create a reality.
So we have to do this for ourselves, in other words.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So, the more I have done it for myself, the more, the clarity that has brought into me is to say, well, if I mix this word with this other word, with this other word, with this other word to make each letter to make this word, how does it make me feel? If it makes me feel good, then that's the word I'm going to use more often. If it doesn't make me feel good, why would I use it?
Yeah.
Because each letter has its own vibration. And how do we want to combine it? What do we want to do with that?
So Veronica has asked a question. How do we help our customers change their most entrenched beliefs about themselves and make them positive?
The greatest way to do it is do this sample with them about their name and see what happens in their name. The first name, the middle name, the last name, and see what is in there, what has come up with all of that.
Yeah.
And what can you change with that?
And if I can just add to that, this can be done in multiple stages. For example, when somebody says with a client, when somebody is having a difficulty with whatever situation is going on in life, I, as a routine, will ask them to write down or speak about how do you feel about this, and they will give a description. This is happening, and I don't believe this. And sometimes it really helps to write it down, and then now you have all the data as to what all needs to change here. First thing is get rid of these words that I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm feeling very, very things. So here is Shruti. She's just put up her hand to ask a question. I'll come to you. So I will say, you don't, when you use these words, you're recreating those vibrations, right? So starting there. And then you go into the individual words and the details. And when I say I'm at peace, what is the word, the vibration of the word peace in my context? So it becomes a whole different.
So just before adding to that, I'm going to say when people come and tell me I've this, that, and that, and that, and I said, okay, tell me how you feel. I always ask everybody, tell me how you feel. Just like you said, tell me how you feel. And then after they tell me how they feel, and I said, well, I will rephrase that and I will put it in this way.
Correct. Yeah.
And I will always rephrase it and change that. And I said, now tell me, now that I changed the question, it's still the same question, but with different in a different format. Now, how does that feel? And 90% they feel a lot lighter, and now we can go to clarify, to do this, to do that, to do all this stuff. But it all depends what words that you put there. Somebody says, I'm really angry. And I said, okay, that's how you feel. What are you angry about? Well, this happened, that happened. So I said, okay, let's change that. Anger is great because it is the emotion of really moving you to change something. Okay, so I always say thank you for that. Thank you for that frequency. Now let me rephrase. Okay, so I ask more details. What happened to them at this moment? What do they feel this way? Was it with the spouse? Was it them? Was it this? Was it that? And that changes everything. Another thing that we do, it like I used to do, like a lot of people that are into the spiritual realm and they start with prayer and all of that. I will say, okay, share your prayer. Tell me what you say when you get up in the morning, and what is your prayer, or what do you expect this day to be? Oh no, well, I get up and I curse this day because I'm here again. And it's like, well, what are you going to expect? You know, we have to, this is about being conscious. So if I'm going to, before I wake up and before I get up from the bed, I start saying, thank you for this incredible new day that is in my life. Because this is a new day. It didn't say, let's repeat everything that we did in the past. This is a new day. And a new day, we have an open-ending opportunities to create something marvelous, something that feels good to us, to each of you, to each of your clients. So, and a lot of times prayer, what I have found with people that do prayers a lot, that their prayer disconnect them from this reality, from this place of being. And that's when the spirit shows me the plant again. And I go back to explaining, prayer is to ground you. Your intention is to ground you into recognizing that you're in a physical form, manifesting the divinity in you. So if you don't ground, you're not going to manifest. Here's the reality of that. So the vocabulary changes that. It makes you aware of these things. It makes you aware where you are with your body. It makes you aware of all these little other details that are so subtle that sometimes it hits and I said, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that. Thank you.
We have a hand up, so I'm going to ask Shruti to speak. Shruti, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Malvika, you automatically picked up part of my question and put that forward because I'd raised it a while ago. But I think building, Cecilia, on what you've already shared, I wanted to ask about emotions, and what you shared about anger was really helpful. Can you share a little more about the reframing that you shared, that you ask for what's beneath it? Any more tips or any more about how you would reframe, for example, if you're feeling overwhelmed or angry on a particular day, what is the vocabulary you can shift to?
Can you give me an example of maybe somebody that is really angry?
I can say, for example, I've been juggling many responsibilities, and there are days in the last couple of weeks, I, for example, have felt overwhelmed.
Okay, so I will say, I recognize within myself that I feel overwhelmed, and I think that aspect of me that is showing me that I have too many things in my plate. So now I'm going to ask, let me rephrase that, okay? So I'm going to rephrase it because you're saying that's what you have. So I always give thanks to anything that comes up, regardless if it's good or bad, because it is really an awareness of ourselves to see what we're still holding on to. So there goes, I would say, okay, it has come to my attention that I have been distracted by too many responsibilities. I'm going to bring the energy of spirit and love and source into my awareness to move all those things that need to move gentle and effortlessly. So I can refocus myself and to be totally present here for me. The moment that I'm totally present here for me is the moment that I can change things. And now, instead of me getting overwhelmed, I start feeling more relaxed. So when I change that, how do you feel?
Yeah, I think what you just said, so you start with overwhelm and actually reframe it to what it's pointing towards.
Yes. Because remember, the overwhelm is coming up from this present moment. If we look at this present moment, we are totally, if you take a breath, if you're not breathing, then that's one of the things that I always say to people, always have water and always take a breath. The water is because the water is what supports the physical body to release more or whatever it is that we're holding on. And the breath is to bring that energy to say, I am supported. I am breathing, but I'm consciously breathing. And that gives me the opportunity to rephrase thinking whatever is coming up to be here, because it's something that I need to look at. I'm going to rephrase it so I can move through this process effortlessly.
That's really helpful. Thank you.
I had like when I used to do a lot of meditation, so I used to travel a lot. And when you travel a lot, you always have to look in, for the time that you always get there on time, or everybody comes in on time. I would always say, I arrive everywhere at the perfect moment. No matter where I am, I'm always in the perfect moment. It's always the perfect time. And one day I was doing a meditation about 3 hours from here, and I know it's going to take me 3 hours, okay? And traffic was on the way, and then I got there at the perfect time. It was the right time, everybody was there, and I walked in, and there we were. It didn't take 3 hours. In my head, it was going to be 3 hours, but hey, however it moved me, and I arrived there in time. When I travel in airplanes, I will always be there on time. Everything is in the perfect moment at the perfect time. So that's coming back into you. We are here to be supported no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing. We totally, that energy and that understanding that if anything comes up, more than anything, it's such a gentle, so much love that comes in when something that we call negative or discord comes up. Because it always is coming up because we have apparently didn't want to look at it, or we told we were never supposed to look at it, or this and that. Like some of the, I'll just give an example here. Some of the clients said, well, when I was a child, I was not supposed to be seen or heard. Okay. So how do I change or rephrase that? So we welcome, first we thank them for the child that is still holding that energy, and we say to them, okay, let's rephrase that. In my mind, I'm immediately going to change it to see if anything's still they holding on their names. And I do that because I have practiced so much now that it kind of goes into an automatic situation. And we rephrase that. And then immediately I said, okay, how old is the child? 3, 4, 5, whatever age, 7, 12. So I asked, do you remember what happened at that moment? And they said, no. Okay, let's bring love to that child, because that child is looking for that love. So I'm going to rephrase it. I'm going to say, thank you for coming in. You are powerful. You are lovable. You are the most incredible child in the universe. We are here to love you. There is only love for you here. And now can you tell me how you feel? The child immediately goes into sharing things, and it gets transformed. Or through the person, the child shares how they feel, and it gets transformed back into being conscious, because that is of the past and right now. We only go in the present moment. Right here, right now is the only moment that matters. Everything else does not matter. Everything else is of the past. But this moment will transform your future moments. So if at this moment I can love my darkness and my light, this is the moment that we become wholeness. We become in this wholeness, in this process of being conscious living. That I'm living here consciously, recognizing that because I'm a soul and I have traveled for so many, I will always have some things that needed to come up in order to be the vocabulary to change, the vocabulary to change. One of the things that we did when Malavika was in the class, we did the word war. And the word war was a very intense word. And then even we put it backwards, and he said roar. So war brings you to the raw essence of you. So if you're in war, in internal war, you're constantly going to be in that, not at ease at all, always having a lot of things happening to you because you're totally raw. So it's incredible looking at the words and at the vocabulary, your internal vocabulary, that every time, like the word receive, what does that mean to you? Because again, the energy you're receiving, what are you willing to receive? Love, are you willing to receive? So receive has a lot of charge in there. So receiving is a very interesting, we are so trained to give, to give, to give, to give. Receiving, for me, receiving was an issue. Even though I had great communication and this, but receiving was an issue for me. So it took me quite a few moments to keep doing and revisiting and doing that in order to say, I'm willing to receive now. I'm willing to be in the giving and the receiving of things, because again, what Spirit showed me when it showed me the word receive was my arms. Okay, one is to give, one is to receive. If I only give, the other arm is not receiving, how can I move frequency? The energy that moves through me, how can it move? It has no flow into it. So the giving and the receiving have to be in same level, the same understanding. So for some of you that do SRT, you can, if you dowsing, you can say to what percentage, just to get you a quick understanding here, to what percentage am I receiving? To what percentage am I willing to receive? And you will surprise yourself. And then you can break it down the word and look at it. Or you can do a clearing. But again, clearing is interesting. It clears frequency and clears energy, but it doesn't change your internal vocabulary.
Correct.
So doing the conscious and doing the vertical words, it changes your own definition. And that's what the key, that's what is for me was the most illuminating thing that I have experienced.
I think we have Glinda who's been wanting to ask a question or make a comment. Go ahead, Glinda.
This is more a comment than a question, but a few months back, I was listening in on the West Coast Dowsers Conference, and there was a teacher named Gary Platt, and he gave us something called the Bovis Life Force Bioenergy Units Dowsing Chart. I just put it in the chat box. It's free and it's available, but it's a circle. I'm not sure if you can see.
Yeah.
It's a circle with a lot of,
raise it up higher. Yeah.
is that better?
We get a general idea, yes.
Okay, so it's available, and I gave you the website, the link. But this is, I'm thinking that this is a very objective way to measure the vibration, the frequency of a word. Like 1,000 is the vibration of cancer and nuclear radiation. 10,000 is tired person. 24,000 is a positive thought form. It's also the vibration
I just want to share something, Linda, with that, okay? So Spirit had said, okay, you want to change the frequency of cancer? Write it down. What does cancer mean to you? Or what is cancer? So that is the frequency, but this is changing the definition, your internal definition. So if you look at the word cancer, my internal definition of that word has changed so much that it's only love there. So this is about redefining everything for yourselves, okay? No matter what comes up. The word fear is the same thing, especially in these times that is so much going on out there. You know, redefine everything, because your internal dictionary, your internal understanding will shift. And now when you see this, or when you see that, or when you see that, it says, okay, as I'm a powerful being here, I'm not here to say this is good, this is bad. Is this just an experience that they're going through or I'm going through? And how can I redefine things? And if I redefine that things within me, so whoever I'm with, it will change their understanding also. Okay, that is beautiful about seeing the frequency and the vibration, but we're asking here, being conscious living is redefining your vocabulary. Okay, that's what this is all about.
So one of the biggest value, I think, of having done this work with Cecilia that I found is that there are general understandings, like even for a chart like this, I'm sure it has value. And our mind wants to know, okay, let me find out the percentage, let me find out how much is present and all that, which is good. Those are very great indications too, as a starting point. I think ultimately it comes down to this body, this mind, this spirit, which is unique. So once we are able to get in here and say, all right, it's showing me 15,000 on the chart, or 28,000, whatever it is. But for me, when I break out this particular concept, whatever it is, that I have defined in these words, for me, what is it vibrating at? For me, only for me. Maybe yours, maybe not, I don't know. And it was very interesting because Cecilia made us do several exercises where we get into the mental, emotional, and the physical parts. And you write words, and she actually went down into the inner child and made us make drawings.
Yeah.
Extremely revelatory. You understand, you look at a picture that comes out within the structure of whatever the task was, and you go like, I never would have thought of that. So it is, one is of course taking something from outside and relating to that, but I think what Cecilia is talking about is more get inside here. We are using the words, we are making the expressions. Do we know what is the vibration, what is the frequency of that? And if we can identify it, can we expand it? Can we raise it? And I think for this reason, not every book, for instance, would resonate with everyone. But there are certain things when you read it, you go like, wow, because there is a resonance which is so uniquely ours. So what Cecilia is saying, well, we have a means of getting there, figuring this out for ourselves. Just thought I would add that.
Thank you.
We are past the hour. If there is somebody else who wants one last question, perhaps, and then we can wind this up. Okay. So if there isn't any, then I'm going to bring this to a close. It's very interesting, Cecilia, and after hearing your talk, and I'm thinking, this subject has got so much more depth that I don't think an hour really does justice to it. So, but folks, you have Cecilia's contact, you have her website. So if if you feel that this would be something, a fun workshop to do with her, please get in touch with her. And I'm sure if there are enough number of people, we can maybe even organize one online. I'm not sure, because there's a lot of artwork and all that you do, Cecilia. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if this has been of value to you folks, I would invite you to make a little contribution on the announcement page that I would have sent to you. And thank you to all those who have made the current contributions already. Thank you for joining today.